Good morning, and it's that morning after reflection on last night's game. Well, Spurs have kicked off the Champions League campaign with a win, 3 points. Wasn't really overly impressive, was it? It was 90 minutes that basically came and went, one shot on target, and a goal laced with very good fortune. It was also Thomas Frank's first game as a Champions League manager. He looked just to tweak the team a little bit from Saturday's match. Bentancur coming in for Polina, and this is part of the rotation, obviously, that he's looking to do to keep players fresh. And obviously, Matthijs Tel isn't in the squad, so he dropped out, and Richie came in. It was more like a Europa League game. I thought the crowds, there were large swathes of empty seats. I mean, we saw the Spanish fans didn't travel at all. And if anybody saw sort of top tier of the East Stand, there were loads and loads of spare seats. They were estimating, I think the Daily Mail yesterday were estimating on around 54,000. I see this morning an attendance as of now has not been advised, not been confirmed. So it could quite possibly have been in this sort of figure range. So for me, again, I think I was proven right when I said that I don't think they priced the tickets correctly. I think it was, I paid. I'm upstairs in the West Stand, so it was the equivalent seats to mine that were empty. And mine, as a Grade B game, I was charged £96. Which is ridiculous for a first game of a group stage, to actually expect people to spend £96. They'll just stay at home and watch it on television. It was like, as I said, it was like a Europa League game with the fans, the fans weren't particularly loud last night. I think the loudest cheer was when, the loudest not cheer but songs, abuse, was when Thomas Partey came on. And it was just one of those games that, thankfully, we came out of it with the right result. Anyway, on to the game. In terms of action, there wasn't too much, was there? You had one shot in the entire match that was on target from Pape Sarr that the keeper saved. You had a shot that fizzed over from Xavi Simons, whichever way it's meant to be pronounced. Layoff from Mickey van der Ven. Pepe had a couple of chances which he put wide when Spurs were left a little bit exposed through sloppy passing, and it wasn't the greatest of games. I thought both sides were pretty poor for a Champions League game. I thought the quality of football yesterday was not of the expected standard, and that for me also. It was spoilt a little bit by a very over-officious referee who was throwing out yellow cards in the first half like confetti. There weren't, maybe a couple out of the 6 or 7 should have been yellows yesterday. And sort of looking at it, I think Xavi was very, very lucky based on the referee's performance and his speed in pulling out yellow cards for very little. I think Xavi was very, very lucky to avoid a red for a second yellow when he tripped, not sure it was, but he tripped one of their players second half, and Frank pulled him off soon after and put Brennan Johnson on. In terms of the players, in terms of marks out of 10, sort of just running through the team, I'll start with Vicario. Had very little to do. Sort of worried a little bit with one pass out, which went straight to their player in midfield and set them up for an attack. But apart from that, didn't have much to do. What he did, he was quite competent, and I would give Vicario a 6. Moving on to the back four, which I think you're starting to see a back four that's starting to gel. Again, another clean sheet, which is now 4 in 5 games. I thought Porro was better than he has been recently. Looked solid, looked compact, won more tackles, his positioning was better. For me, Porro was a 7. Romero, I would give a 7 as well. I think there was a 2-minute period where he tried playing 2 balls through the lines that got caught out. Again, that could have put us in big trouble. Apart from those 2 passes, I thought he played very well. And as we could see, there wasn't too much that Villarreal had to, that their strikers had to work on. Mickey, again, another good performance. Apart from one misplaced pass first half, thought he played very, very well. He got a 7 for me. And on to Spence, who has had better games, possibly because there wasn't as much defending, which is where Spence stands out, as in other matches like a Man City, etc., or a Liverpool, and Arsenal. So for me, Spence got a 6. You're starting to see, although it's unbalanced, for me the left side is unbalanced with Spence, who is a right footer, and Xavi, who is for me a number 10 and shouldn't be out there, and he's only out there because he's sort of just he's filling a gap, hopefully until January when Spurs go out and buy a proper left winger. You can see a partnership starting to form there with between Spence and Xavi. Moving into midfield, as I say, Bentancur came in for Polina. Bentancur, I thought, got better and better as the game went on. Very, very comfortable in position. He can swing, he can pivot 380 degrees. Gets himself out of trouble well, and put in an awful lot of hard work, covered the grounds, and for me, he did well. Kept him on the whole game. And when Frank needed to shut the game down, with 20 odd minutes to go, he brought Polini on for Sarr, just to sort of tighten it up with Bentancur. So no, 7 out of 10 for me for Bentancur. Bergvall, I thought, had another decent game. He was the only one second half. When we had less possession, he was the only one with the ball that drove forwards. Very, very encouraged. He's coming on nicely. Not there yet, obviously. He's only 19. Just seems to be improving. There seem to be touches of maturity coming into his game, which he's going to get through experience. And for me, the guy's got great potential. Great potential. Really looking to see how good a player Bergvall turns into. Papa Sarr wasn't the best of games for him. A lot of his passes were off key. Were picked up by the opposition. Not great yesterday for Pape. Great legs. He obviously likes him in that position. He covers the grounds. Not one of it. For me, I've seen him play better this season. For me, a 6. Moving on to the front line, Kudus is a 7. He's like a man mountain. It's just impossible to get off the ball. Just want to see him brought into the game further up the pitch, into their last third. A lot of the time, he gets the ball on the right. He's closed down. What you want is for him to be advancing, in threatening positions, final third, one-on-one, going on, having a go at the fullback. Put in one glorious ball that Richie just couldn't get on the end of yesterday. But I think there's a lot more to see from Kudus. Richie, unfortunately for me, was disappointing. His first touch isn't great. Goes to ground too often. The one bit of support I will have for him was really apart from the ball that Kudus came in, that was just waiting to be put away. There wasn't too much that he had. We had, I think, 9 crosses into the box yesterday, but they weren't particularly great. Most of them were cut out. He didn't get great service, but for me, not his best game. Richie, he's not the answer for me. He's a good player. Gets stuck in, gives you nothing less than 100% effort all the time. But we definitely need an upgrade if we're going to start challenging for trophies. And Xavi Simons, good in patches. There was a great 1-2 where he played the ball into the box. It was laid off and he shot just wide. So you can see flashes there. Loves to get the ball, come inside every time. So for me, he is a 10. He's been shoehorned into the 11 because we didn't get a left winger. Personally, I'd rather see Simmons in the 10 and someone like Odegaard given a run, because he's probably, for me, the best option we've got as a left winger at the moment. But no, really good potential. You can see he's a good player. You can see Simmons has got it. And for me, yesterday, okay, I'll give him a 6. In terms of the subs, Udogie came on, was okay, did a job. He came on after 69 for Spence. That was the last 20 odd minutes. Had a little bit of defending to do, did okay, nothing special. Polina came on, did his job, you know, closed off, fed off bits, shut down the space, made a couple of important tackles. For me, again, he's a class player, and I think Frank used him very, very well last night. Johnson came on for Xavi. Not great again, just, I don't know, just doesn't seem to get in. Very, very lightweight, loses the ball a lot, doesn't seem to have confidence to take on players. Again, sort of being nice, probably give him a 5. Moving on, Kolo Muani, nice to see him on the pitch. I think he got himself booked straight away. Other than that, wasn't really involved too much. We were defending for most of the last 16 minutes that he was actually on, including any time. Give him a 5. He will be looking forward to seeing him when he's properly match fit. And I fully expect him either to take that 11 spot or displace Richie at number 9, and maybe Richie goes 11, maybe Odegaard does. But a lot more to come from Kolo Muani. Danso came on after 92 just to see out the game last couple of minutes. We know Danso's a good player. So basically, just summing up, we got the points. It wasn't pretty. The good thing is, it's another clean sheet, and if Spurs can keep this habit up of winning games when we're not playing well, that's not a bad thing, is it? Anyway, we've got 3 points. Good start. You probably need, I would say, if we're going to qualify, sort of glass half full here, if we're going to qualify for the top 8, we've got to win the 4 home games and pick up a few points away from home, maybe 5 or 6. We made a good start. You can see the step up. We got the points, even though the performance wasn't great. A lot of the passing was sloppy, but Frank has turned Spurs into a really organised side, and for that, you know, you've got 4 clean sheets out of 5. So happy days today. We move on. Bodo Glimt is next in a couple of weeks' time. Have a good day. Hope to see you all on Thursday's show. Take care.